time, yeah, making a difference, one cup at a time, tea time. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time, tea time, yeah. Tea time, time.
Well, welcome back, guys. We are here for the evening tea time. That's right. We did this morning, we did this afternoon. Now we're back this evening, and I've done it again 3 tea times on a Thursday, running on 2 hours of sleep, and I'm still pulling it, and I'm doing good. So, right now, I have the incredible Newton Vanriel in the back, sitting in the green room, and he's ready to come and share and spill a good, strong cup of tea. We're going to talk about some adventures and soul sisters. We're going to really talk some really good, strong stuff. I want you to check out this book, grab a copy. Christmas is coming. Grab a copy for grandkids, your kids, and share this tea time for anybody that it will resonate with, or it will make a difference, because that's what these tea times are for. It's to make a difference in someone's life. 1 hour. That's all I'm asking for. Listen to me for 1 hour, and then we're going to share and we're going to make a difference. So let's do all the good stuff. We're going to get the disclaimer in there. We're going to get the bio. Then we're going to get Newton in here, and he's going to share a different type of tea with you tonight, because we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to twist it, because that's what today's just been a twisty day. We had a special guest this afternoon. Now we have twisty teas. This is the way we roll in this house. So the disclaimer for Miss Liz's live tea time show. Miss Liz, myself, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to leave your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward for any tea time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith. However, may bring forth dialogues and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the giving time of airing. All tea time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment in taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussions for some where they may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that this show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer and inspire awareness and connection, and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact me, Miss Liz, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in tonight's show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcomes you. And should you find that the show is not made for you at this time, I respect those wishes and will see you at a later date and time. And again, all tea times this year are done on a Thursday, 10, 3, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unless it's a rescheduled tea time, then it's a Monday or Tuesday. So now let me give you a little bit about Newton. Who's Newton? Who's the man that's sitting in the back room that I'm going to bring forward for you to share? Well, you can see him a little bit here. He's a fundraiser. He's an author, soccer coach, volunteer. He's a professional fundraiser with over 25 years of political, nonprofit, and consulting experience. He's established Knowledge Solution Consulting for 17 years, best-selling author of The Adventures of the Soul Sister, which we'll be talking about tonight. He's a successful soccer coach for 8 years, church leader for preschool programs for 5 years, volunteer chair for a variety of nonprofits, including Tropicana and Scarborough Housing Help. Married for 30 years to a partner, a successful civil servant for 35 years, Daughter Alexandria is 27, completed master's in food and health inspection. Son Jordan, 24, mechanical engineer, graduate, full-time engine at tech company, and former hockey soccer star. CrossFit fan and fitness fan, completed Tough Mudder and two 10K runs and a variety of 5K runs. He is the recipient of the City of Pickering Culture Diversity Award in May 2023. So let me get him in here so we can share some tea with you guys and I can sip on mine.
It's tea
Welcome.
time.
Welcome, Newton. My
Well,
God, that was a
I
full
know, I
cup.
know. I was looking behind me myself like that's not me. It's an
Right?
imposter. It's like somebody I don't know.
Every time when we hear our bios, we're like, oh my God, did
Yeah,
we really do all that?
I
Who
cringe
is that?
sometimes. There's a bit of cringe, like, oh yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, I guess that's me. Sounds like me.
Right? When we start reading all the accomplishments that we've come over, then
Yeah,
we're like, whoa, we've really done a lot in our
yeah.
lives.
But it's humbling though. It makes you realize you've lived a full life, and I think most people want to live a full life and just enjoy the diversity of living.
Absolutely. So, Newton, I want to know the little Newton first before I get to know the big Newton.
Oh, the little Newton. When I was young, the little Newton.
Yeah, when you were
Wow.
young. So what were you like when you were a little guy?
When I was little Newton, I think I was more insecure. I was shyer. I was somebody that probably was less of a leader, more of a follower. I come from a church background, a senior deacon's son, so I was involved in the church. But little Newton rebelled a bit. I had my rebellious stage in my teens. Little Newton just was always curious about books and poetry and just curious about people, I think. And I think that's where I had that's what led to this book, really. My early years of poetry, my early years of just enjoying books. To my left, I have a big bookshelf of all different types of books, from everything from the Bible to autobiography of Malcolm X to Lord of the Rings, which was I read 4 times. So I enjoy the diversity of learning, and I think that's what's led me to a career of constant learning. From me, the young Newton would look at the older Newton, and he would say, "Well, this guy's a square." Oh, look at him.
Is that what we call that now?
Yeah,
Are
I
we
don't
that
know.
old?
Or they say he's like, oh, he's old. But the old Newton would say to the young Newton, there's a lot that you needed to learn. And now, like we're talking before about the Maslow's hierarchy and self-actualization. It's interesting when you get to that point where you're comfortable with who you are, regardless of opinions. Like me, dislike me. It's about being honest with yourself.
Yep.
And also, I've been lucky to have a partner. Vivine has been my anchor for 30 years plus. And my kids have been just amazing. Our kids have been amazing. So, like I was saying before, I don't have that much to really be worried about at this stage of my life. I have a great family. It's the extended family. My mom is still alive at 90 years old. I was at her place yesterday working, trying to work with my mom there, walking around and jumping into camera. Hey, Gary. She calls me Gary, by the way. Gary's my Jamaican name.
Oh, Jamaican.
Yes,
Oh, well, look
I
at
was born in
that.
Jamaica, left when I was 5. Gary is not on my birth certificate. Gary is a name. It's just a nickname. It's like a nickname like Pookie or Lukey or whatever. And my wife calls me Gary. My close friends call me Gary, and my family call me Gary. But then
Oh.
at work, I'm Newton Vanriel, corporate fundraiser, whatever that.
All that stuff we mentioned when the show started, right?
All that stuff that was in the line. It sounds nice, but in essence, you probably have to have a conversation to understand, I
Yeah.
guess, who I am.
Yeah. Well, they're titles, right? They're things that we have done, but
Of
that's
course.
not who we are as an individual. You know, a lot of
Yeah.
people, they listen to these big names or these big titles, and then they're like, "Oh, you're amazing," and then
Mm.
you come along and you just say, "Well, I'm just Liz," and they're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Well, you know
Well,
what? Liz is the same person as all of those titles. Newton is that same person with all of those titles. We just want to be known as who we are, right?
yeah, yeah, and be comfortable with who you are and accept it. And I think it takes years. I think it's taken me almost 50 years to get to a point where I truly entirely accept who I am. And it takes a lifetime for some people, and some people they never do. So
Yeah.
it's part of the journey of life, right?
So, Newton, I want to get into these books. Why the title? First of all, the title. I want to get into the title because the title tells a lot if people pay
Yeah.
attention.
Well, it's interesting how I started this book. I had this book in my head for a long time, but even before the pandemic, it's about seeking equality in uniqueness, because the soul sisters, of course, are adopted into a black family, and one of them is black and one of them is white, and they view each other as sisters. So their adventures are the adventures in their own mind sometimes, while the world looks around at them and says, wow, you're very different. But they look at each other and say, look, we have our own language, we are twins. So the soul sisters are twins. The idea was about maybe 10 years in the making. Like I said, I have always enjoyed poetry. I've always enjoyed spoken word, and that's been something that's always been in my soul. And then the pandemic came, and I was working from home. So I had the chance to actually start the book. And the artist, the amazing artist, Monique Brent, I always say to her, I'd never do any book without her. And because I've just completed the second book, the
Oh,
manuscript, second book. I'll talk about it briefly, but yeah, the first book, she did a painting of my wife. She's an amazing artist in Austria. She did a painting of my wife, and this was way back. Um, and I said to her one time, I'd like to write a book, and she said, "Well, when you're ready, let's work on it."
yes.
So it took the pandemic to begin the process of me sitting down and focusing on, like I said, this book is for all the fish that swim upstream. It's for all the unique people that sometimes don't feel that they're unique because the world wants them to fit into a square, into a round hole. And I've been a bit of a square peg in a round hole, but I'm okay with that. I've gotten accustomed to being myself. So I started writing the book. Um, Found a publisher, Friesen Publishing. I found them on LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a lot, and we started the process of just working together. And the hardest part of that book was releasing it to the world,
Oh,
because it was just I was insecure. I still don't view myself. I'm an author. Yes, okay, I am an author. But at that time, I didn't view myself as an author. So when I was just going to release it, the publisher said, Newton, your background, right, is in corporate fundraising. You are a promoter. You're a salesman. So you go out and sell that book. And the funny thing is, I decided to do that. I decided to contact my contacts, and the book actually won a book award, and it's led to the Civic Award that I won in Pickering in this year. So the book is really about love and unity, and about being who you are in spite of perception. So yeah, that's the Soul Sisters. Is we all have soul, right? We all have soul, no matter who you are. It's And sisters is like fellowship. It's like brotherhood, sisterhood.
oh, I
People
didn't
who
see. I never looked at it that way.
Yeah, yeah, people who connect, just connect. I have conversations with people. This weekend I was talking to this one individual at an art show, and we spoke for a half an hour. totally different background. You know, he came from a wealthy family, but we had this wonderful connection in conversation. The problem with this world is that people don't converse and they don't listen. So what's happened is that people will say, you're this, you're that, and then there's that tunnel vision that leads to no communication whatsoever. So yeah, the Soul Sisters is about that. It's about connecting. It's about equality. It's about uniqueness. And even in the book, I placed the farm up in Espanola. And it's interesting. The reason why they're up in Espanola, when I was in university, I was involved in a program that took me up in Espanola for 3 months to live there for 3 months in a trailer about this big, smaller than this room. And I was involved in working with the indigenous community up there and involved in doing an emergency plan and the land use plan, because my degree is in urban planning. I have an urban planning degree from Ryerson. That's my journey. And then I began getting involved in community work, which I've always been a volunteer. Then I got involved in politics, where my fundraising began. It began around 94. And then I worked for organizations like United Way, Salvation Army, World Vision. Now I'm the corporate engagement manager at Wood Green Community Center. So I manage one of the largest charities in Toronto. And it's I manage the corporate engagement opportunities, you know, fundraising, but also volunteer. They get to go to our food banks. I like talking to people and I like listening to people. So I think going back to Soul Sisters, it's about how people communicate in a world that sometimes judges you too quickly on who you are without knowing what you are. So it's that's the Soul Sisters. And now second book is
Wow.
the Soul Sisters go to school. You know, it ends with them entering, there's at the last page, they're entering Sylvia School. That's the name of my mother, Sylvia. And so this book is a bit, I think, frankly, you know, when you're critical of your first book, because that was my first book.
Yeah.
I'm still critical of the first book. That's why it took me a longer and more of a heart-wrenching time to do the second book. I believe the second book is a bit more clear, has a better flow, and has a bit of diversity in the Soul Sisters. They get to meet their soul brothers in the
So you have the sisters, then you bring the brothers in.
the brothers, and the brothers come from a different It's like the United Nations of soul people. And it's just an opportunity to talk about the importance of connecting. You know, one of my good friends growing up was a Chinese guy, Basil Lee, and Basil Lee. We hung out like brothers every day. We lived in area of Toronto, West End Toronto, Bathurst, Sinclair, the working class area, and we hung out. And it wasn't because I didn't look at him and say Chinese, black. It was just two guys who had similar passions and enjoyed doing certain things and enjoyed each other's company. You know, so
I think that's really important, Newton, that you brought that up. You know, like you didn't look at the color, you didn't look at the race, you just enjoyed each other's company, right? You just had that good communication.
Yeah, and it's just how it's a challenge of living in the 21st century where people label people first before actually trying to understand who they are. And when you label somebody, it's game over, because because you've already made a judgment call on who they are, what they stand for. And for me, you know, I grew up in a strong-willed family. I mean, I'm the youngest of four, and we're all, I would say, successful in different ways. But we were driven by primarily my father, but my mom. My mom is the figurehead of the family, and she's strong. And I think our way about ourselves is reflective in her. Strong, understanding, firm, and people who enjoy a good laugh, a good glass of wine, hanging out at the beach. I'm a beach person too. I'm a kind of a hippie-esque kind of guy.
Well, no, Newton, you were saying you chill in the backyard because
And I
we
chill
were
in the
talking before
backyard.
the show started. We were going to do a podcast chilling in the
Yeah, you
backyard
should.
here.
You know, I'll go in the hammock and I'll have a glass of wine and I'll just rock back and forth. Because life is about enjoying. Because you never know. Like I've been to some funerals recently, on a more somber note, and you realize how short life is. And if you live it with an attitude of negativity, it'll kill you.
Yep.
And so, attitude is a personal choice. That doesn't mean I'm always happy or anything like that, but attitude is a personal choice.
Yep.
If you look at the world in the dark, in a kind of a, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, then you're going to live a life that's reflective of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's the message of the Soul Sisters, and I've done the message, sent the message out, and I've done a play on it. I was at Chapters this weekend. Sold about 40 books. Really good opportunity there. Of the books at a different bookstore. But it's also, I think, the message. I think I clearly explained the message to people that this is about unity. This is about equality, but it's also about uniqueness. That it's okay to be different. It's okay to have a different color. It's okay to have a different height. It's okay to be that way. And I think for both men, but especially girls, because I have a daughter, and this world puts labels on them harshly. And so for them to feel empowered, they have to have a sense of confidence.
Yeah.
And I look at my daughter, and she has a sense of confidence. She's smart. She's determined. She's just a wonderful, balanced person. Similar to my son. Both of them are living their lives. And so
But
that's
they got
it.
a good role model. Like, look at you. You've done a lot, Newton, as well. You know?
Yeah. Success and failure is a beautiful thing. Because I failed as much as I succeeded. And that's when you fail early in life, or you have challenges early in life, it hurts.
Yeah.
But then when you get up, you realize the resilience of what you have can deal with anything at any time. You know, death and even job changes, and and the economy changes. And also being a fundraiser. A fundraiser, as you know from being a fundraiser, it's about what have you done for me lately.
Right? Have you even gotten that phrase to you when you went out to fundraise?
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah. Has anybody ever said that to you?
Well, it's more the theme, because I've been successful in fundraising. I've raised probably millions of dollars in my career. But then if it's 1 year where you raise $1 million and next year you raise 200,000, they'll say, how come you didn't raise $1 million like last year?
Yeah. What haven't you done this year that you did last year? They look at that, right?
Having a thick skin. And I think that's why underlying all of it, I do have a thick skin. It's not that I'm not sensitive, but I realize that in the world that I've worked in, you have to adjust and not lose your soul, and this goes back to the Soul Sisters, not lose your soul while you're doing what you're doing. Because having your soul is your enthusiasm. The ability to get up in the morning means you have to have that soul. Yeah. So yeah, that's the Soul Sisters in a nutshell.
I love it because it's so different, and I love different. Everyone knows Miss Liz. If everyone asks me what's one word to describe Miss Liz, I say it's different. I do it differently. I stand up differently. I speak differently, and we need to be different. We need to start shining, because different is beautiful. Different is the new way. When you can stand with that confidence and say, look at me, I'm different. I'm that, that square or that oddball or that, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay, because I want it that way.
I like that. Tea, not cup of tea. Liz tea.
Right?
I am not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. I'm not everyone. I can be verbal. I like good conversation. I love a debate. I just
Yeah.
love a debate. And
We
so for
don't
some,
have that anymore in today's world because everyone is
nobody
scared of
debates.
debating.
Yeah,
Everyone's
because if
like,
they debate, it's
yep,
like, oh,
yep,
you may offend somebody. I understand the importance of accountability. Accountability is incredibly important, but conversation needs a certain sense of grace when you're
yes.
having a conversation. Grace means, and it's one of my favorite words. I know it's not part of the tea, but
But no, this is where the twisted tea comes in.
yeah, the twist.
Because he's going to
Yeah,
take us on a
I'm a
little
bit
twist. We're
twisted.
going this way, and then we're
Yeah,
going to come back this way.
yeah. Grace is one of my favorite words. I think it's how you treat people and how you walk in this world yourself. If you need to bring somebody down, then it's just arrogance and insecurity. That's the difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is when you got to bring somebody down to feel better about yourself. Confidence is when you try to uplift yourself, the people around you. And I guess people say I have an energy that's calming and uplifting. And I'm just me.
I like that. Newton, stay me.
Yeah, stay
Because
me. I'm gonna write that down.
we need more of Newton me. You know what I mean? Like just be yourself. Just,
Yeah,
be that uniqueness. Be that
yeah,
different. We were all put here for reasons to be different, to be
exactly.
unique, to bring a different flavor to the table. And that's what you're doing tonight is you're bringing a twisted flavor because we're going to go into the grace and then we're going to go into the what did you give me again? Manifest. And then we're going to go into the humor and then we're going to twist it. We're going to do some twisting
Okay, let's
because that's
go.
what we're going to do. We're just going
Let's
to
do
twist
this.
it tonight. So
Let's get
I
twisted.
want to get into this twist first, this side twist, and then we're going back over this and we're going to twist it and we're going to just take it all over tonight.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So let's get started with grace.
Okay. Grace for me represents equality, respect, honor. Respect. It means that when you treat somebody a certain way, it doesn't matter sometimes how they treat you. They may treat you a certain way, and if they're toxic, just step back. Don't be around them. It's really about how you balance your life to not get too angry, which I can be. I'm passionate. That's my nature, but not get too sad and not get too happy. Incredibly, like, oh, everything's perfect, because you have to look around the world and realize that there's some challenges in this world, and there are people that are struggling. And if you're not helping somebody in this world to build them up, then what's your legacy?
Right.
The book, in essence, is sort of a legacy, but I've been volunteering ever since I was in my teens. And the legacy is seeing some of these kids, some of these young people become better. It's to see families, when you raise funds for certain causes, see how that cause helps families. And so grace is just finding that peace. It's both biblical, but it's also just a great word to live by. So that grace is one.
And I like the way grace, right? You can't say grace and be angry. Come on. You
Yeah,
can't
that
say the
grace.
word grace and be angry.
Grace.
Like you can't say grace. Like
Grace. It's
I
like grace.
great. Like I can't do
The
it.
hands. The hands
I
go,
can't get
grace. It's
angry.
open. It's grace.
Try and say great. Like
Grace.
Now let's get into the manifest. How do you get into manifest from grace?
Manifest is interesting because I think manifest takes a certain element of determination. And I was talking to somebody about this because he said to me, how come your book became successful in the word, et cetera, et cetera? I actually manifested it. I said, I want this to be successful. So I made effort. I'd get up in the morning, sometimes early in the morning, send emails out, out. And I would contact all my contacts. I contacted chapters, and initially they said no, and then they said yes. I contacted various theaters. A lot of them said no. Port Perry said yes. I contacted a variety of fairs, information fairs. Some of them I went to. Others, they were way too expensive. So I've learned a lot about the publishing industry. It is an industry, and
Yes.
and you have to think of it as a business. Therefore, budget for it. And so I budgeted for it. I manifested that, and then I manifested the fact that my wife submitted the application for the city of Pickering for the Civic Award, and I went up there and it was beautiful. My son was there. I got to get the award from the mayor of Pickering. It was an honor, but I wanted that to happen. So it
Yeah.
sounds maybe cocky that, oh, who do you think you are? You have to manifest things. You have to visualize, put it in front of you first, see yourself in it, and then move forward. So manifest is very important to what's happened to the book, and what I think should happen to the second book. And also, I'm looking at a book of poetry called Love
Oh,
Stuff down the road. So that's
you're
next
going
stuff.
poetry on us.
I love poetry. I love poetry more. That was for in the book, in the Soul Sisters book, there's poetry. So there's poetry within the book. It's so I couldn't write a book without poetry. And so the visuals are amazing from my illustrator, but the poetry makes the flow of the book more whimsical but educational. It doesn't knock you over the head, but it tells you a story about inclusion and the importance of it, stepping back to accept people, whoever they are. So that's manifest.
Well, and poetry actually calls people in too, because
I
sometimes
mean,
when you're just reading text, it
yeah.
doesn't grab you. When you put the flow of poetry in there, you kind of get that flow going like a good cup of tea. So we're going to take you out from manifest and we're going to take you into some humor. Why the word humor? Where
I
are
have
you
a
going with that
wacky,
one?
I have a wacky sense of humor. I'm I'm truly warped. I look at life, and I think that's helped me in my life. I don't I look at life, even the challenges, and you bounce back and go, hey, let's go. Uh, Life is about, like, myself and my wife. We went to Vegas recently. We went to New York for a wedding. We love going to the beach. We love dancing. We love connecting with a group of people. We call it the party people, but these are all educated, successful people who just like having a good time. We've done Airbnbs with them. So yeah, and last year was our 30th wedding anniversary. We went to Paris, went to Switzerland, went to Rome. So that was like a travel. We love traveling. So in life, you have to enjoy it. And because when I was younger, there's no way I could afford this. I mean, I was working class parents. You ask for $1, they give you 50 cents, you know. So at the end of the day, you have to laugh at life almost in a bit of defiance. Not a laugh like, haha, but sometimes, hey, haha, try this, try me. And,
Right?
and, yeah.
But I liked a lot of key points that you're bringing to the table tonight,
Mm,
Newton.
yeah.
Like you said, who does he think he is? Does he sound cocky? You know what I mean? No, we're just proud of the accomplishments because we put the work into it. You manifested, you got up, you put the effort into it. We need to start doing this. We can't just expect it to fall on a table
No,
and it's going to be
no,
boom there. You got to
no.
work for it.
Yes, you do. It's sweat equity. And I think both myself and my wife come from that background of sweat equity. And I think we raised our kids to understand sweat equity, the importance of getting up and doing. And people will judge you. That's always the case. Don't, it'll hurt you sometimes. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you're happy with who you are and what you're doing, that's what equity can make you laugh the rest of your time in your life, even
Yeah.
if people may not like you or may not view you a certain way. Yeah, I'm viewed by some people as being out there, outspoken.
I think we need more Newtons in the world, to be honest. We need that outspokenness because without being outspoken, how do you bring the awareness?
Yeah,
How do you bring change?
yeah,
You
and
know?
and you could do it in a graceful way. So you could be outspoken and not bring people down. You could be outspoken and actually be graceful in it, and
Yeah.
not put people in their place just to make yourself feel better, because a lot of people, there are people that do that for their own. And when you do that, there's a deep insecurity. And we
Yeah.
all have our challenges. Everybody walks with a weight that you don't see, you know, and sometimes you that's why you give grace to people who sometimes treat you a certain way, and you never know what they're carrying. You
Yeah.
never know what their hurt that's going through them. So you got to step back and just kind of eventually forgive. Eventually.
Well, sometimes you just got to step back and see, what is that person going through?
Mhm.
What
Yeah,
what is really hurting them inside that they feel that they have to come on this attack mode, you
exactly.
know, or they
Exactly.
feel that they have to sound higher up,
Hmm.
instead of
Yeah.
just saying, what, I like what you're doing. It's incredible. It's different. I've never seen it done. Let's
Yeah.
see where this goes. But
Yeah.
instead, they'll get this ego or this competition in them where it's, well, I'm the professional. I have more of this and I have more. Okay, but the little guy that ran the race and came in last place too still ran that race too.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
let's stop forgetting about the last place person, because that last place person might be next year the first place.
That's true. And in the world of fundraising, I deal with multimillionaires. I deal with corporate leaders. I deal with people who are on the echelon of academia. And my view is I don't get impressed by any of them because at the
They're
end of the
people.
day, at the end of the day, they go to the washroom, they do the same thing. They put on the shirt or put on a dress or anything like that. At the end of the day, they're people like me and you.
Yep.
And I think if you get too blinded by celebrities and blinded by those people, they're just like me and you. So I think there has to be a sense of self-love.
Yeah.
And I think when you do have self-love, you need self-love to exist in this world. You need it. So the book, in essence, is about self-love. It's about self-love of these girls in a world that people look at them and they still are happy. They can go on the farm and create their own world. Now, people said to me, when they create their own world, aren't they isolating? Yes, sort of they are. They are. There's a bit of that where they're creating their world. Now,
Hmm.
the second book is about them going into the world. So that's where it gets a bit more interesting because in the book they're in their own little fun world, with the farm animals and the fun things. The second book is going into the world of school. Now, I don't know about you, but school
Right, in
was not
kindergarten,
entirely
when you went to school, when you were a little one, I was
it's like get
scared.
me out of here. I
I
don't
was
want
a
to be
crying
here.
kid. I was like, I want
Yeah,
to go home.
me too. You know what? I never felt comfortable in school, even though I was a good student. I never entirely felt myself in school, and I think there's a lot of us out there that are like that.
Yeah.
And so I create a bit of that uncomfortableness for the soul sisters in the second book because it just makes sense because school has all different diversity and sometimes they have bullying and they have different environments that create inequality.
Yeah.
So at the end of this at the end of the book there's a bit of comeback equality within the girls and I won't describe it because then
Yeah, because the book's not even
I'll,
out yet. We got to
I'll
get
be
the first one.
I'll be
Then come on,
I'll be
everybody
spilling the
buy the.
tea. I'll be spilling the tea. See, when you drink
Yeah.
a tea like this, man, it's classy. I'll be spilling the
You're
tea.
spilling the tea, and
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
won't
go
spill any more of
into
the
your
tea.
tea.
Yeah, I will not talk about that tea until that tea comes up.
Because you'll be back for book two. We'll have you back as a guest again when book two comes out, so you
Thank
can
you.
spill the tea on that one.
I can spill the tea. Yes. Every time I hear spill the tea, I think of Southern. I'm going to spill. I do declare I'm going to spill the tea.
I'm gonna give you some good.
Mint juleps. I'm going to have mint julep with that tea.
We're talking about tea, Newton. So let's get into your
Oh,
real
yeah.
tea.
My tea? Okay, the
Yeah, your
tea.
real tea. Now we're gonna
Okay,
switch it. We're going on this side now.
we're going on normal. We're gonna go on what I'm supposed to say. No.
We're going to the left side. We went to the
Yes.
right side first. Now we're
Okay,
going
well, let's
left.
talk about tea. Tea is teaching. Everyone's a teacher and everyone learns. So in my life, I think I'm comfortable to say that I'm a teacher and I'm a leader, and it's okay to feel that way because your legacy at 58, I'm no spring chicken. I'm at that other end where my legacy is those around me, our kids, family, friends. And what you try to do is you try to teach a certain way of life that works for me. It may not work for you. Everybody has diversity in styles of living, but find that way in life that fits you. So teaching, it's like in fundraising, uh, in soccer, coaching soccer, you're teaching them not only one thing I was good at. I don't think I was that good at maybe even teaching the techniques of soccer, but I was good at motivating them. And
Oh,
that's because I've done motivational speaking
yes.
also throughout my career, getting them motivated to believe in what they're doing, to believe in that they can play in this position, that they can play center back and play well, that they can finish up and score goals. So I think my style is very much providing a light, shining a light on you and saying, okay, this is who you are, and now go and flourish. So that's the teach. That's the teacher.
What do you got for your E?
E is eager. I'm eager to learn. I'm eager to live. I get up in the morning. They always say that people get up in the morning successful. I don't know, but I get up at 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning every day, and I get up with a plan, and I get up with a determination to do more, and I can't sleep in. It's funny. My wife can sleep in a bit more, but when I'm up, I'm just up. And I come down to the library. I'll do some work, maybe read a bit, get ready for the day. So get my mind ready for the day. So there's the eagerness. I guess you can put that as determination also.
Oh, I
But
like that.
so it's determination to get up and do. Um, and there's a eagerness to live, to have fun. I love having fun. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a fan of fun.
I'm watching you. I'm watching you. I'm coming around. I'm going to come around. We're getting the A, and then we're going to go into why you gave me determination because now I got it.
There you go.
I got it. So, what do you got for A?
Attitude, very important. Well, if you have a negative attitude, you can't hide it. You can't hide it. You can't hide it. The energy that comes from you, and I believe in energies. I believe
Yes.
there are energies that people have that when you walk into a room, they could either bring that room, shine the light in the room, or bring it down. I was
Yes.
having a conversation with my VP this afternoon. She said, a lot of people like your energy. A lot of people like to work with you. And I said, yeah, it's just me. That's what I said. It's just me. I I just believe in giving people space. And that's why I said to her, I believe in giving people space, giving people grace, letting people be who they are, you
Yeah.
know, and not worry about how it affects you. Yeah, I have a healthy ego. I'm not gonna lie. I have a healthy ego, and I have a very strong sense of myself, of confidence. But it doesn't need to be placed down to put down somebody else to make myself feel better. That's not that's arrogance. So
Yes.
yeah, the T is teaching, eager, and attitude. Attitude is altitude, like my family says. Attitude is altitude.
So, how high do you go?
Wow, as far as life takes me, but there's the end story to everybody's book, right?
Yes.
So the reality is that you never know when the end story is going to be written. And I know people in my generation, in our generation, who are not here anymore. And so you always wonder, okay, how come they are not here and you're here? That's grace of God, man. I mean, it could happen to anybody. Things could happen to people. So you have to live life like maybe it could happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Live a life with a certain sense of, of wonder, have fun, enjoy, read, I still read the newspaper, the hard copy of. I get the Toronto
Where do
Star.
you get the newspaper?
The Toronto Star. I get it
Oh
comes
my
to
God, yeah, Toronto.
yeah, Toronto.
We got
Remember?
magazines
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry. I'm in Pickering, but Pickering's just next to Toronto. Right? So back in the day, remember back in the day we had magazines. We had. I still read the newspaper because I want to have the handle of it. I know this generation is a lot about this,
Mm-hmm.
and I think something has been lost because of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound like an old man here, but here I go. Uh, Technology has made things easier,
Yes.
but has stunted our ability to communicate and figure things out and problem solve.
Yeah.
Because that can problem solve everything from you. Just ask Google. Oh, it actually responded.
Google will tell you how to fix it.
How do you exist, Google? I will tell you how. Here's a song. Actually,
But I
music.
find that Google is good to an extreme.
It is. It is.
But it
It is.
also creates a confusion and a lack of communication
Yeah.
because they're asking the phone instead of asking the person that's next to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what's happening is you have people that are communicating with each other in the same room on the phone. And you know what? I use it too. I mean, it's great for work. I mean, you know, today I had six Teams meetings in a row.
Wow.
And I could have never done that in the old way. The old way I have to go drive, visit, go mileage. Now in the new world order, which is post-COVID, I'm hybrid. So I will work at home. Tomorrow I work at home, but I will work on my computer, have very productive meetings, and still be productive. So I guess you can teach an old dog new tricks, eh?
We're not old, are we?
Well, no. I didn't say you. I said me.
Well, I ain't even going to give my age away. So
we're mature. I'm gonna tell you, we're just mature people.
That's right.
Spilling the tea, Liz. Just spilling the tea.
I'm just a young granny. That's all I am.
Yeah. I want to be a granny. I'm looking forward to being a grandfather, where I could take care of them and tell them to go home, give them a lot of candy, give them a lot of sugar. Bam, here's the door. Bye.
Yeah, all I do is give tea. I'm the tea grandma. So
You're the tea.
yeah, my son-in-law is like, no more teapots, no more tea sets. And I'm like, birthday time, Christmas time. Come on, there's a new tea set out there somewhere.
I like tea, but I do like wine more. I'm just saying, I do like red wine more.
Well, and now I want to come back to that twist, because when you started talking about determination, you gave me that word determination. You were talking about the eagerness and being determined. I asked you to give me one word to describe yourself as an individual, and you gave me the word determined.
Yeah.
So why that word, Newton?
There's a fire in me, and I don't know how it got. Well, I guess foundationally from family, from a belief in yourself, from living a life of challenges and good times and still being here. But determination is just a fire in you to do things. Like if I didn't have the determination, I probably wouldn't have written a book. If I didn't have the determination, I wouldn't have stayed in the career that I'm in. If I didn't have the determination, I guess determination brings happiness. It built our relationship with my wife for 30 years, making it successful. And so without determination, there isn't that fire. So therefore you give up easier because you're like, well, there's a wall here. Yeah. And if the wall's in front of you, you go, well, I'm not going to do it. I can't go through that wall. I can't go over that wall. I believe walls are just challenges, and I don't fear them as much as I do when I was younger. I still fear them because it's good to have that humble fear of situations, of circumstances, but I don't fear trying. And I think when you don't fear trying, it's a sense of peace that kind of overcomes you. Yeah. That you're just yourself. So yeah, I'm determined. I would say if you ask my wife what quality I have, I'm resilient. I
I was
bounce
going to
back.
say that's the word that came to mind for
Yeah,
me when you were
yeah,
sharing. You've come and overcome a lot,
yeah,
and you've been resilient,
yeah,
Uh, when you first started talking about Soul Sisters, you were talking about promoting it and
hmm,
getting it out there as a
yeah,
fundraiser. I want to ask you this because I'm a fundraiser as well. Do you feel insecure when it comes to your own material over someone
yes,
else's material?
yes, yes, big time. And people don't get that. I remember I went to an Airbnb with some friends, right? And I had the book in my car, and we were there for like about 7 days. I gave them the book on the seventh day when we were leaving. I said, "Oh, by the way, here's the book. Like, bye."
I'll see you later.
Yeah,
But
and I
why
think
is that?
why? Because it's not fundraiser. They know me as a fundraiser. This is my role. Author. Nobody knows me as an author. So there's that. I think now I'm secure in calling myself an author, but it's been a year that I've had the opportunity and I've presented myself and I've been on podcasts and events and activities. So now I'm an author. But there's that fear of not being accepted in an area that you're new to. And being new to it is sometimes terrifying. So but they told me to promote it. And I said, okay, there's one thing I can do. I can promote. And so I've learned to use me as the, I guess the word is brand. I have my hat with a brand and a T-shirt, and when you become a brand, and you're unashamedly, I will promote it to anybody. I'm at a cash register. I'll have the card in my bag. Here's my card. Here's my card. Uh, the great thing that Wood Green Community Center, where I work now, did, they profiled myself and and our executive director, because we were both children's book authors, and he had us on social media. It was all over LinkedIn, it was on Facebook, and it was such an honor for to get that type of respect. And I think it just shows that they know there's diversity in people and diversity of interest. So yeah, I am determined.
I wanted to bring that around because a lot of us who are fundraisers, Newton, when
Mhm.
it comes to fundraising for ourselves, as the individual, whether it's a book, whether it's a product, we kind of get this
Party.
insecurity. We kind of get like,
Yes,
ooh,
yes,
now we're on the opposite side of the table. What are we doing? Like,
yeah,
we're used
yeah,
to everybody else push, push, push. But when it
yeah.
comes to ourselves, we kind of, and there's a lot of people who feel this way when it comes to
Mhm.
promoting themselves.
It's true. It's true. And I think what how I overcame that, I was proud of the message. I was proud of the theme. And it's a theme that everybody needs to hear. So I think at this point now it's different from when I started. I'm proud to speak about the book. I'm proud if somebody wants to, if somebody wants me to talk, I'll talk about it for for a long time, because it's about a time when people. It's about time people stop judging each other, and have some dialogue and have some discussions and look at the uniqueness. We're we're not all homogeneous. We're not a homogeneous brand, but we do have foundational similarities:
Yes.
family, friends, love of enjoying a certain hobby. There are certain things that bring people together. Like I've learned that in the author community, that there are authors of all different colors and shapes, and they gravitate towards me, and I gravitate towards them. And I've gone to certain conferences where you sit down and you can tell that they're artists. You could
Yes.
tell an artist is not an occupation. An artist is a passion for something. Your energy comes out as an artist. So if you're a poet, if you're a painter, like my illustrator Monique, we actually sat down and we were finishing up the book, and she had a ukulele and she was playing music while we were finishing up the book. It was so cool. But the great thing about her is that she's also a critique. And she will say to me, Newton, no, this doesn't make sense. So the way we work the book is that she'll do a frame, a picture. I'll say, yeah, no, maybe I'll write a part of it, and she'll say, well, why does it go this way? Does it have to go this way? So
Yeah.
I think there's no Soul Sisters without Monique.
Well, and Newton, you like to always go to the left side, and then you go to the right side, right?
I do
You're
go to the
just
left
like
side.
you just like to twist it. You just like to go right and left and right, you know. But we need those people to put us in direction, right? And on track again. We need
Yes,
those people that guide
of
us
course.
as well.
Ground
We
you.
have a couple comments that are coming in the section here. We have a what's up from Twitch, and then we have a couple people from Twitch tonight. Hey, from the land of Pumpkin, Michigan, call me Mac. I'm a writer guide too, and it's called imposter syndrome. Writers have been called imposter syndrome many, many times. It is well known. If you are a writer, you do
Yes.
have some degree of imposter syndrome within you because you doubt yourself because you're not sure because it's a different land. It's
Oh
a
yes.
different table.
Oh yes. Perfect
So,
name for it. Perfect name for it. Exactly.
so
You're not sure about it and you feel insecure. Definitely.
right. So we're almost at the end here, Newton. So if anybody wants to get this book, where can they get this book?
Well, you can get it at I have a website. It's soulsistersbook.ca, soulsistersbook.ca, and you can just you can actually type my name Newton Vanriel on Google and it will show you where you can get it. You can get it at Barnes and Noble, at amazon.ca, at amazon.com. It's fairly out there. So, and when you go on the website, you'll find that it'll have all different locations. And I'm also on Twitter. Well, it's not called Twitter anymore; it's X.
I know
Facebook.
I'm getting
Oh
used to it
my
because I'm
god!
like, where's my bird? Where's the
Yeah,
bird?
where's the bird? What happened to X? What is that? What's that? So I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. So it's all those social media that I just learned how to really focus. I have a book page on Facebook that I keep people up to date on things that are happening with the book and events and activities. So yeah, that's let me see if I there you go. This
Oh, look at that. And you can see all of that in the video, the 1 minute opening of the video
yeah,
of tonight's tea time. You'll see that incredible image, that design, incredible book. So
it
go
is.
out and grab your copies, reach out, and let's just make a difference. Share this tea time. If you really enjoyed this tea time and you like this conversation and you'd like to come on tea time, all you have to do is message Miss Liz, booking Miss Liz at gmail.com, and we'll fix it up. We do different at this table. We serve that tea with the little pig.
You
You know
got the
what? I've
tea.
never drank my tea like this
Me neither.
since I
Me
was a little
neither.
girl. Like
Me
my
neither.
finger just like I'm like
It's just kind of
my
cool.
grandma used to be like, put your finger up. I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, grandma, I can't. It hurts. And she'd be like,
I
no,
know.
put it up.
I drink tea like this.
A good beer or a glass of wine,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. A glass of wine and beer.
Or
Yeah,
a
I'll
good
drink a couple of those.
tequila. You can have the tea still.
Yeah, tea's in the cupboard. The wine's on the table.
Right? Oh, well, I've had a real blast with you tonight,
Thank you.
Newton, and I
Thank
really
you.
want to thank you for coming and sharing your tea
Appreciate
and
it.
twisting it a bit because I love when the tea times are twisted and they're all over.
Indeed.
It makes
Indeed.
it more enjoyable. You know, I could sit here and I could interview back and forth, left and right. I could do, hey, how are you? What's your name? What, you know,
Yeah.
but let's make it fun. Let's really spill and make a mess. And
Yeah.
that's what I like doing. I like making a mess.
Yeah, I
So, and
spilled the tea all over the place.
right? You spill it all over. So if
Got
anybody
clean
would
up
like to
afterwards.
see,
I'll get the
right?
mop.
So if you'd like to check out this tea time on the audio, you can check out Miss Liz on over 30 platforms on the podcast. And you can also check out the UK radio station, WRFM, in the UK on Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. UK. Miss Liz's tea times are on there as well. So you can check that out. And again, I want to thank all of the supporters that came in from Twitch tonight. It was incredible having you in the studio with us as well. We enjoyed your comments. So thank you for that. And I will see everybody next Thursday, same time, same place. And who knows what country I'll be in next week. This week it was Canada. And we were in Wales this afternoon. So we just never know where we're going next Thursday. I think we might be going to another country.
Oh,
Hint,
let's
hint.
go.
So
Traveling is good.
let's check it out. So until then, I will see everybody next week. Again, Newton, thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Liz. Truly appreciate this. Thank you.